Welcome to the third and final installment of my response to the Australian Broadcast Company's You Can't Ask That episode regarding fat. I've said everything that needs to be said, so let's get to it. I'm going to fast forward through this question. The answers are basically every stand-up comedy routine you've ever heard about sitting next to a fat person on an airline.
Do you exercise?
No. I am active, but I don't exercise for exercise sake.
Taking one look at that double bag chin you've got, and I don't believe you're all that active. And what the fuck is exercise for exercise sake? You exercise to get healthy. Why would you exercise just to exercise? You're making no goddamn sense.
Yes, I do exercise, but not as often and as much as I'd like.
Okay, but you are exercising, so there's a start. But I have to ask, are you exercising because you want to be a little healthier, because you want to lose some weight? Or are you exercising for exercise sake? The clown lady wants to know. I figure I'd want to know too.
A group of friends and I did what we called aquaporco, which is actually synchronized swimming for fat women.
Did you enjoy it? Was it working? Do you wish you could have kept it up? Did you have to stop because of the baby? Or did work get too much? Or both?
Going and doing aqua aerobics 3 times a week, that's exercise. I exercise a lot compared to what people assume I do.
Water aerobics is great. I do water aerobics. But there's not a lot of cardio in water aerobics unless you're in one of the advanced classes. So maybe you're going to want to step things up a bit. Get to a gym, talk to a trainer, see what else you could do to really help things go. Still, best answer so far.
Not only exercising, but it works as well. Going to work is like, going to the gym every day, and that's one of my favorite places to go and do my exercises.
I read a study some time ago about work and its benefits as exercise. Even strenuous jobs just don't give you the kind of workout that a good 30-minute cardio-intensive session will do. You may think you're getting exercise while you're working, but trust me, it's not happening.
They were saying, well, look, our bodies can do what other bodies do, and we have a right to be in public places, and we're bathers and so on.
What in the name of Muhammad's 9-year-old virgin blood-encrusted dick are you talking about? This is the question, do you exercise? And now it's about having the right to wear swimsuits, as if that has ever been a problem. Goddamn feminists.
There was a stage where I was on a really, really ridiculous regime of exercise. People don't believe me, but I would literally exercise between 6 and 8 hours a day. I was also on some pretty full-on diet pills at the time. They were basically amphetamines. I had this incredible manic energy, but in the same sense, I couldn't work. My work was in really bad state because all I focused on was exercising and losing weight.
So exercise is bad because you were a fucking speed freak. My mind is just boggled at the thought of you even thinking about putting words down on the internet. I'm speechless.
Even though people encourage what they'd call obese or fat people to do exercise, when you actually go into public spaces to do exercise, you are not always treated with respect.
So we went from not being able to wear bathing suits in public, which you can, to not being able to work out, which you can. We went over the whole respect thing before. I don't know why it's unclear. Get over yourself and get your shit together.
I'm not at the gym 5 times a week for 3 hours, and I don't intend on it because I really can't stand gyms.
Nice straw man there, boyo. I don't know who said you had to go to the gym 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. No one who's sane anyway. Okay, you don't like gyms. Figure out a way to do it at home. You could get a used treadmill or a used exerbicycle. There are options available, dude.
I kept convincing myself that the only thing that made me worthy was that I was getting thinner.
So you decided to embrace your obesity and move on to a happier life. Wow.
I see quite a bit of anger and disgust. I think it's a really unfortunate thing. Who are you, you lazy fat person who eats too much, to claim happiness?
Remember, folks, this woman is in academia. She's shaping the young minds of tomorrow. Is that not one of the scariest fucking things you've ever heard of?
I was going to a psychiatrist at the time, and I went to him and I said, I can't do this anymore. I have no friends. I'm miserable all the time. And the weight's creeping back, and I'm doing 6 to 8 hours exercise a day. And I was sobbing and, really in a bad place. And his response was, do you think you could squeeze another 45 minutes exercise in? I was suicidal at that point.
I'm calling bullshit on this. There's no way anyone who knew that you were exercising 8 hours a day and who knew that you were taking ephedra by the fistful would ask you to exercise more. Did you say you were suicidal? Again, this makes no sense. I'm calling bullshit.
Surely I have a right to live how I want to live, and if I don't like exercise, that should be okay.
I'm glad you're exercising. I'm glad you're doing the water aerobics 3 times a week. But it's a problem if you're not enjoying it. You really should find something that motivates you. Just doing it because you have to is not going to keep you doing it. Try to find a class where you like the people around you, where that sense of social interaction helps bring you along, helps bring you back time after time. Exercising and dreading it is really the same as not exercising. Got to get your head into it too.
Where's the quality of life? Everyone talks about the quality of life when you're a fat person. I certainly didn't have the quality of life when I was trying to be a thin person,
Excuse me, cat lady, but didn't you say during the when was the last time you were thin question that you never wanted to be thin? Can't you people keep your stories straight for more than a few minutes at a time? I'm trying to work with you here, but you're giving me nothing.
Is sex difficult when you're fat?
Hard question.
No comment.
No. No, not at all.
I know, I think sex is pretty difficult most of the time, regardless. Gotta find someone who wants to have sex with you first.
Sour grapes from the guy who said he doesn't want any consequences for not exercising. The rest of this question is answered the same way over and over again. Yes, it's possible. You have to make some adjustments. If you don't believe it's possible, go to Pornhub. I think the search is whale hunting. There are books and the aforementioned videos. Yeah, you can get the job done. I'll just fast forward to the next question.
If you could weigh less tomorrow, would you? I could take a dump and weigh less than 5 minutes if you like.
Oh, is there anger beneath that calm surface or what? Somebody's massively triggered.
Before I even read that question, I said yes. In my head, I said yes. If I could weigh less tomorrow, definitely would.
Once again, this guy comes through with a solid, honest answer. He has never let me down.
For me, that's like saying if we could live in a land of pink lemonade and, cupcakes growing on trees, would you?
Can you imagine someone with such an irretrievably bleak and desolate mind will do to the child they're raising? I do not hold out a lot of hope for this kid to come out well-balanced. And ask and ye shall receive. That is screen cap worthy derp right there.
Sure, it'd be nice to not have to worry about trying to find clothes that fit. It'd be nice not to have to worry about plane seats anymore.
Pretty mundane stuff when you look at it. I mean, seriously, you're worried about finding clothes that fit? Although I have noticed that your shirt does not fit worth a damn. But still, you have type 2 diabetes. That shortens your lifespan, especially if you have some concomitant factors like high blood pressure. So seriously, don't you think you'd be a little more concerned about how that would benefit your overall health than how it would benefit your wardrobe?
Maybe I wouldn't have the solid sort of fuck you vibe that I've got, When people are rude to me, I would actually take it on board more now. I'm just like, fuck you.
I've given this woman a lot of shit during this video, but credit where credit is due. That's a very honest and very thoughtful answer. I'm impressed.
So growing up, it felt like to me that the worst thing you could be was fat. And so when I look back in my journals, as I always wrote, I worried that I had the worst body that anyone had ever had through history or would ever have in the future.
My dearly departed mother obsessed about her weight fairly often. She had always wanted to be a model, and at the time, there were no fat models. Now, my mother was never really heavy, but she was still a few pounds over runway weight. So she would eat diet candy that was supposed to curb your appetite. She'd drink Shakely diet shakes, all kinds of crazy shit, just to lose a few pounds. But in her worst moments, she never gave me the kind of awe-inspiring morbidness that this woman has. And I didn't turn out that well. So what do you think's going to happen to her offspring?
If I could weigh less tomorrow, definitely would. I think for me, when I'm weighing less, I move more, a lot more comfortable in my skin, confidence is higher, everything just, for me, just feels better when you're thin.
This man epitomizes the words yearning and desire. You can hear it in his voice, you can see it on his face, you can tell by his body movement. He wants to do better. He wants to be thinner. He wants to be healthy. I hope he can get all that.
I enjoy not obsessing anymore over my body and not worrying.
I'm very glad you've gotten over your obsession. Obsessions are dangerous things to have, but you have to be worried. You are not a healthy person. You have a child. You have got to take better care of yourself.
We could just stop people from looking at you weirdly by teaching them that it's okay to be fat.
If your goal in life is to get people to think it's okay to be fat, then prepare yourself for great and unending disappointment.
You can do all of the things you think you can only do when you're thin, when you're a fat person.
Have you forgotten that being overweight literally drove you crazy?
Your body size doesn't actually determine what your life is like. Sometimes other people do. The lesson I have learned is to not carry other people's negativity and not carry other people's judgment. I have to live up to my standards, not other people's.
Well, crazy lady, your standards are going to keep you from living the life that is possible if you have a proper BMI, and it's going to put you into an early grave. Be proud of yourself for that.
That's it. Finished, done.
That's everything now.
Sweet.
So I don't know if you're going to get much of a light-hearted tone from that, but
There's all sorts of things in there.
yeah.
These are great questions, by the way. That sex one, that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good, actually.
You're great, actually. Yeah. There were a lot of laughs in there. Very good.
So I Googled the good Dr. Jenny Lee. She works at Victoria University. She teaches creative writing. But, as you probably guessed already, she teaches creative writing from the viewpoint of feminism, fat, and gender studies. Yes, she's the girl who's going to teach you literature when you're getting your gender studies degree. Lucky you. So anyway, that wraps up a long one, but I hope an interesting one. It took a lot of work to bring it to you, but I learned a lot while fiddling around with my software, and I'm starting to get pretty good at this. I think in another year or two, I might actually have it down pat. And now, an anecdote. Let's keep the food theme going here. My mother had a club of girlfriends that would come over, and they would go to each other's house on a rotating basis. The hostess would cook, and they'd talk, chip teeth, play cards, have a good time. At one of the houses, my mother was very impressed with the homemade pizza that one of the gals had prepared. And my mom said to her, "The next time you come to my house, I'm going to make a homemade pizza." My mom had never done that before. My mom was a terrible cook, and certainly one of the worst bakers on record. But she went ahead. She made a pepperoni, mushroom, and black olive pizza. And when she took it out of the oven and started to bring it to her friends, it took her forever to get to the table. Someone asked her why it was taking so long, and my mother replied, "I have to go slowly, otherwise the olives will roll off the damn thing." She had forgotten to slice the olives. That's my mom. You gotta love her.